Hi, Bethany Wilson here with Ruff Beginnings Rehab, and I'm here to talk to you about prong collars. Now, I'm just going to show you first what they look like, so you see what I'm talking about, because sometimes they're also called a pinch collar. We always use Herm Springer. Make sure you don't accidentally order from somewhere that's going to send you one that's a fake. It does happen. You'll always know if it's the right brand because the tips are nice and rounded smooth. And then the quality is just better. If you have two next to each other, you can tell. You'll also, the newer Herm Springers will have this plate in the middle, which is beneficial. I'll talk about that in a minute. But here's the thing. I am well aware how scary this looks. In fact, I've been doing different types of training for many, many years, and I used to not use these myself because they look scary. So I get it. I completely get it. You have to use your own judgment on whether you want to use these or not and decide whether they're something that you want to use. But I will tell you that they are one of the safest tools that I have ever learned how to use on a dog, and a tool where you can get some amazing results for yourself or your client very quickly. Being someone who's actually been at a shelter before with someone returning a large breed dog to a shelter simply because they pull so badly on a walk, I have videos where I turn things like that around in 15 minutes or less. So for me, there is no better tool that attaches to a leash than the prong collar, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, so this is a 2.25. This is what we use the most to get a really good fit on the dog. I like it because it has the smaller links. However, if you train with it, you will find that, that it can absorb some of the impact, whereas a 3.0, which is more heavy duty, won't do that. So if you have a thick fur, dog, or if you have a dog that's really, really strong puller, you might want to start with a 3.0. I would always want to transition to a 2.25. They're smaller, take up less room on the neck, but these are just more heavy duty and they're good for like huskies and really thick furred dogs. But typically our clients will, unless it's a really large breed, will go home on one of these, okay? So the next size down is a micro prong, micro mini prong, very, very tiny for little chihuahuas or pugs or whatever the case is. And I'm going to use this to just kind of show you what I mean as far as why this is one of the safest tools I've ever used. So basically anything you use on a dog, slip leash, takes air circulation out, flat collar, if it's where it usually is on the neck, which is mid-range or low, you're putting direct flat pressure on the trachea and on the larynx, and you can do some damage. And the reason why is because if you have a flat collar and it's attached to a leash and you've got a gap, when it doesn't even have to be that big of a gap, you've got a little bit of a gap, when they're pulling, all the pressure is on the front of their neck. It's on the front of their throat. Prong collars don't do that. Prong collars are designed to do even pressure. I'm gonna take some links out. To do even pressure all the way around the neck, so you don't have that gap. Okay, so it really is distributed along just the the muscle all around the neck evenly. No direct flat pressure. Really, really great. Even if you have like a flat-nosed breed that walks pretty well on a leash, I would use this just because it's just really great for dogs that have breathing issues, dogs that pull hard on a leash. But I mean, we use them on puppies, we use them on everything. So they're just a really great training tool. You'll find that you can do a lot. You can use a lot less force on your dog when you use something like this. All right, so let's talk about where it fits on the dog, because that's really important. We get a lot of dogs that come in here and they're so loose, they're down low on the neck, you've lost control of the head, and even though it doesn't put direct pressure, it doesn't put flat pressure, you're not getting any leverage if it's that big and that low on the neck. So it is supposed to be snug. It is supposed to be snug and very, very high on the neck, right underneath the dog's jowls and behind the ears. and then it clips up at the top. The chain part is usually going to be more on the top of the dog. So you've got 2 rings here. One of them swivels, it actually spins around. So if your dog goes, you know, to potty and spins around, it's not going to tighten. So you always want to make sure your leash is clipped to the swivelly loop. That's my scientific term for it. And then the other is the backup loop that we actually use a carabiner on. So the reason we do that is because of how these are taken on and off. All right, so you've got your leash attached to your swivelly loop, and then the other one is a backup carabiner or some backup of some sort. Some people just use, you know, a double-ended clip to the flat collar, clip to the prong collar, because these can pop off. It's been known to happen. Actually, I'm going to show you how to properly fit these. We'll show a couple pictures after this. But when you take these on and off, you'll see why it's possible for them to pop off, is because what you want to do is just take your thumb and push up, see that, and then take your fingers, wiggle it to pop it off, right? And then to put it back in, I like to get leverage on one side, because you got these 2 little keyholes that you're supposed to stick the prong collar in, okay? I don't like to just squeeze them and force them in, especially because this metal can bend, especially the smaller sizes, other than the 3.0, and especially the 3.0, what I've noticed is my fingers aren't strong enough to do that anyway. So I have to put one side in just a tiny bit, and then use that as leverage to pop in the other side. So again, I use my thumb and push up, squeeze, wiggle out, right? And then I put one side into leverage, pop in the other side. That's how I get them on and off. So if I'm gonna put this on a dog, and again, I'm gonna show a legit photo so you can see it, but if I've got my flat collar, and then I've got my prong collar, which by the way should never slip over the dog's head. You need to take it off and put it on, because it's supposed to be very snug and high on the neck. And then this goes underneath, and you double clip it. This is so easy one-handed. There you go. Then you double clip it to the flat collar, and then your leash is going to be on that. All right, so that's what it's going to look like, because again, these can pop off, and they will do, and that will happen at the most inopportune time. It could be, you know, just because it was just pushed out, you know, in a moment, if the dog, you know, jumps or something, or you might have rushed in the morning putting it on and not quite got it on correctly. That happens sometimes. I really hope that I've given you guys some good information on why we really love to use prong collars with the majority of our dogs that come through here. It's a really great training tool, really easy to train with, and you can be you should be so gentle when you're training with it initially. And then if you have a dog that has any reactivity issues or anything like that, you might be surprised how much more your dog is gonna, you know, pay attention to you because of the training tool itself, without having to use a lot of force. I have some great videos on how to use these tools. Just check out my prong collar playlist on YouTube.